is proudly presented for your enjoyment by Subaru, MMI Insurance and Optus Communications.
Wembley Stadium, the place where English sports fans say dreams come true. Just 2 years ago, they did indeed.
Schofield, nobody home. Oh, great play. Here goes Darryl Powell. They've got a mile of support. Eastwood, what a try. Oh, unbelievable.
The two great rivals' new test pride was back. The old enemy had regrouped. And even as Australia grabbed final glory, the realisation was there. Down under 1992 would be a major battle for the Ashes.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Rugby League headquarters, the Sydney Football Stadium. We're counting down to kick-off in this fabulous first test. The crowd is building up here. It's going to be a marvellous occasion, and wherever you're watching, sit back and relax. This is going to be a great series. Perfect conditions here tonight at the Sydney Football Stadium as we set ourselves with a sellout crowd due for the kick-off, and this is going to be the 106th classic clash between the two great arch rivals, Australia and Great Britain. A man who has been involved in 11 of those out of a marvellous 33 test career is the former captain of Australia, Wally Lewis, and it's great, Wally, to have you aboard in the 7 team.
Thanks, Graeme, and hello to everybody at home who I'm sure are looking forward to this historic clash just as much as we are here at the Sydney Football Stadium.
We look back to 1990, I just wonder just who is 2 years wiser after the Kangaroo Tour.
Well, I'm certain that Malcolm Riley, as Great Britain coach, will have been working overtime for those past 2 years, remembering just what it felt like to win after that first test and remembering just how sad it felt to eventually lose the series to the Kangaroos after looking so good early.
Yeah, I also wonder about it as we think about how good they're going to play the Great Britain side. The bookmakers have Australia installed 3-1 on end to win it by a dozen points. I can't agree with that.
Well, it's nice to have your own bookmakers installing you as favourites, but 3-1 on in a test match against a team that is full of such English champions as they are tonight, I think they're crazy odds. And plenty of people here at the football stadium tonight believe that the Great Britain team can win. It's just a matter of how they apply themselves tonight. Their defensive capabilities are going to be put to the test. That's going to tell whether they win or lose this match.
Well, there's some anxious moments down in the dressing rooms leading up to this test match. The Australian side, of course, have seen some changes in recent years. These are tough times just before the kick-off.
Yes, they certainly are. The guys, of course, just going through the pre-match routine of getting their ankles strapped, getting the rub-downs to warm up their muscles, that type of thing. But as the guys lie on the bench there, the nerves, the thing that go through the mind, they're the most worrying times, of course, in both sides of the aisle. The Great Britain team, of course, they'll feel a little bit more sheltered than the Australians. They are on the Australians really are on a hiding to nothing. The Great Britain players come here, nobody expects them to win. Well, so there and there, they've got not a worry in their mind.
They are keeping it close to their chest, all their cards here at the first test, the Great British side. They are undefeated so far on the tour. We're back with a whole lot more here at League headquarters right after this. Stadium tonight as we set ourselves for the first test in this battle of the Ashes between Australia and Great Britain. Well, did I talk about a battle? The war paint is on, and everybody is setting themselves for a great start to this series. Well, Pat Welsh joins us from Queensland as far as our 7 team is concerned for this great series ahead. And Pat, the question again arises out of this touring Great Britain team: are they foxing us once more?
Graeme, I don't think they have been. I think there's been genuine injuries, and that's why Malcolm really named a squad of 19 initially. They really wanted to give their captain, Ellery Hanley, who hasn't played for 7 weeks, right up until the last minute to prove his fitness. By midday yesterday, they realised that was a forlorn hope, so Ellery Hanley is to miss this test. Hellas also missed through injury, but of course the Australians have also had their dramas with Dale Shearer pulling out, and it has been a week of dramas. So let's have a look at how the two teams line up for tonight. The fullbacks are two of league's glamour players. For Australia, the flashy Andrew Ettinghausen. Great Britain will use Graeme Steadman, who in 1988 became the costliest player in the game. On the wings, Australia boasts strength and speed. Rod Wishart and Michael Hancock. The Brits have the man who made his test debut at 18, Paul Newlove, and the world's most exciting flanker, Martin Chariots of Fire. The Canberra combination form Australia's awesome centre pairing, the skipper Mal Meninga and his heir apparent Laurie Daly, while Great Britain have Darryl Powell, who's making his second tour down under, and the young giant Paul Lachlan. At 5'8", Peter Jackson gets his chance for the Aussies after Dale Shearer's withdrawal forced a backline reshuffle, while Great Britain's captain Gary Schofield is one of the most skillful players in the game. The clash of the halves will be a highlight, the elusive Alan Langer versus the cunning of Andy Gregory. Australia has a giant forward pack. Bradley Clyde is acknowledged as the world's best. Phil Clark must fill Ellery Hanley's giant shoes. In the second row, again, it's size against mobility. Paul Sirenen and Australia's man of the series from the 1990 Ashes Tour, Bob Lindner, confronting the talents of Dennis Betts and the power of Andy Platt. The front row blends youth and experience. The Aussie debutant is Paul Harrigan, who packs alongside Glenn Lazarus, while British veteran Lee Crooks has forced his way into the team alongside Kelvin Skerritt. And the hookers are both superb ball players. Canberra's Steve Walters against Wigan's Martin Dermott. The reserves bench is chock full of class. Australia's backs are Brad Fittler and Kevin Walters. Great Britain will have Joe Lydon and Sean Edwards, while the reserves forwards for Australia are Brad Mackay and David Gillespie. For the Brits, Ian Lucas and Michael Jackson. And the two coaches are legends of the game. Australia's mentor is Bob Fulton. Great Britain has Malcolm Reilly. Two great lineups there. Michael O'Connor is joining us sideline. I don't know whether you'd like to be out in the middle tonight. They're big forward packs, aren't they?
Oh, they certainly are, Paddy. There's no doubt about that. But this atmosphere is just tremendous. I played on this ground the last time in 1988 that we played the Great Britain side. There were only 15,000 people that day. There's going to be a sellout tonight, and I mean the atmosphere is there. It's going to be a great competition.
And a lot of English supporters here too, so they won't feel forgotten.
No, that's right. And let's have a look at the two sides. The English side, they've got 10 Wiganers in the side, and I mean, they're going to be very hard to beat. The back line looks good, and any side with Martin de Fire on the end of a back line looks good, particularly as he's marking a guy who's got a suspect hamstring in Rod Wishart. I think they look particularly dangerous, the Great Britain side. All
right, well, we saw them against Canberra where they played some good attacking stuff and then some great defensive work against Illawarra, so they seem to have the lot.
They do. Look, Malcolm really has been planning this occasion for 2 years. Don't be fooled into thinking that this has just happened over the last couple of weeks on tour. He's got his best side in, apart from Ellery Hanley and probably Sean Edwards tonight. They are really going to give Australia a shake, I believe.
All right, Michael, enjoy it down here, close to the action. It's going to be great stuff, Graeme. Back to you, and I know the Great Britain side are looking forward to a big one.
Pat, everybody's looking forward ahead to this great first test match. In fact, we're looking forward to the arrival of the two teams. Right after the break, we're down to action. Who will be out first? Gary Schofield. What a great player. 26 test tries to his name. He will lead out the Englishman in place of Hanley. Just wait for the reception for the visitors to our shores. They're confident of springing the big upset. The British flag is also confidently strung high. Schofield, the captain, making his 4th tour in a Great Britain Lions squad. Mal Meninga, what a moment for him. 13 times he's led his country down the tunnel. And he will be made to feel like a king himself as he makes his way out with his teammates to try and get the job done in this first test. Jackson keen to get on with it as they get held up in the tunnel. But now it's It's welcome home. This is a giant Australian side. A massive forward pack and plenty of talent out in the backs that could certainly hold their place in the back row. Some heavy strapping out there for some of the Australian players.
Yes, there's a few of them, obviously, still feeling the effects of that State of Origin series won by New South Wales only a couple of weeks ago. We saw some of the players walking wounded only days after the match. The players, of course, have had to get themselves back to 100% fitness for this test match, and I'm sure that they're going to want to be 110% fit to withstand this assault that they're going to get from a Great Britain side. New socks for the Australians this time around as well, Graeme.
Slightly new strips, courtesy of an Umbro manufacturer. The Englishmen start to link up. Gary Schofield is wandering down the line there, motivating this side, saying, we have waited 22 years. Andy Gregory all pumped up. He remains an absolute key for this side.
In such a serious moment as the national anthem singing, Graeme, it was always a moment of great amusement for me. I used to like watching the players from both teams. Now, of course, the English always knew the words to God Save the Queen, but I could never always say that for all of the Australian players. You'd be able to look along the line and usually find the players would all join in for those final Advance Australia fair words. That was about it.
We stand by for both anthems. Patriotism over the years has grown here at the stadium to the point where the crowd in Australia have also started to join in for Advance Australia Fair. Entertainer Geraldine Turner. Now we're down to the greatest entertainers in the world of rugby league, Great Britain and Australia. The world champs in green and gold. Fireworks high above. On a cool night in Sydney, it might be cool, but the stadium is dripping with atmosphere. Great moments here before the kick-off. The traditional rivals. Mother country. And Australia, the referee in charge, is to be neutral. From New Zealand, he's been involved in 4 tests, Mr. Dennis Hale.
All 4 of those tests in Papua New Guinea. He has been involved with Australia and Great Britain, but obviously has never refereed Australia-Great Britain match. So far and away, this is the biggest match that Dennis Hale has refereed to date in his career.
To me, that's also very important, Wally, as everybody is getting hyped up here, that I think with some of these neutral referees, especially on kangaroo tours, it hasn't quite worked.
No, there's been quite a number of complaints on the tour about referees favouring one particular country. I suppose the English will have their fair share of complaints whilst they're playing out here. I know that while we were playing over there, we were very unhappy with some of the refereeing decisions we got, but, well, they are a neutral refereeing standard now, so we've just got to put up with it. Hopefully it won't come down to who made the wrong decisions as a referee. It'll come down to who were the better team on the night.
Everybody's on the prowl here. They can't keep still. The nerves have got both combatants. Nice and cool and collected, though. Martin afire.
Graeme, after just returning from the sideline, I can tell you that Great Britain will run towards the scoreboard end here, and they will have the advantage of a slight breeze in the first half. It's certainly not noticeable in most parts of the stadium, but down at ground level there is a pretty good breeze behind them.
The referee just waiting for some of the bands still to clear the stadium. We will be underway in but a few seconds. For 2 years now, Great Britain have been waiting for this opportunity. The opportunity to prove their mettle. This time it is on Australian soil. They did it 22 years ago. Australia kick off in the defence of the Ashes. The ball comes back. Betts to bring it away just 11 metres out from his own line. Through the forwards. Skerritt trying to get out near the 22. Still they can't make the 22. Andy Platt, the workhorse, getting it back. Now they get out of the danger zone, but just. An Australian player down as Crooks picks up an easy 8 and 9 metres. Last tackle. The pressure on the kicker. Stedman gets it nice and clear. Good kick. Lazarus is the man who is now back to his feet. Eddinghausen taken by Martin afire. Lazarus struggles back into position. Wishart wrapped up very smartly. Dennis Betts down low around the ankles. Steve Walters looks for big Bobby Ledner. He was named player of the Kangaroo Tour of 1990. He picks up where he left off. Great charge from Ledner. Now Harrigan, his first touch in Test football was a good one. Walters looks for a kicker. Jackson tries to wait the kick, but he sends it straight down the throat of Stedman. He is wrapped around by plenty of defence. Daly makes the kill. Phil Clark, he is stepping into some mighty big boots in the shape of Ellery Hanley's. Coming off the wing is Newlove, taken low. Great Britain looking sharp as they move it around to get away again from the 22. Wide they go to Gregory, to Schofield, plenty of ball movement, Martin afire. Langer's there, he beats him, Eddinghausen, no, yes! Oh, what a start! Martin afire thought he had the try, that was magic.
It certainly was very smart movement with the football. Alan Langer being stood up, those legs just a little bit too long for Althea, but Andrew Eddinghausen, one of the fastest players in Australian Rugby League, needed every inch of his speed to get across to Hanley. How fast is this man?
The penalty goes to Australia, a little flare-up. Dennis Hale will wear none of it, and Australia get the penalty. See if we can pick it up on the replay. Great Britain offside in the scrum, no doubt about it. Well, Michael O'Connor, right in front of you, they said they were going to take care of a fire. He nearly burnt them.
They've certainly shown their hand early, Graeme. They look very dangerous out wide. Particular good play there by little Alfie Langer and Andrew Eddinghausen, the last desperation push just to put him out.
Now, Lazarus is struggling once again. Now, Dennis Hale, I think the referee is calling to the headman. Is he? Trainer's quick to get him out there. He has a bad cut. He doesn't want to leave. but he will be ordered to leave the field. Lazarus involved in a couple of incidents, one in defence now when he was in possession. This time he will leave the field. So Australia on their heels a little with nothing falling for them.
No, nothing really going right for Australia at the moment except a couple of referees' decisions. Lazarus still refusing to leave the field, although Mal Meninga's showing him exactly where he's got to go. Of course, the blood bin rule makes it absolutely imperative that he does leave the field. Gillespie will come on now. He'll perhaps provide a little bit of stability in the middle of the ruck whilst Lazarus is going to get off the field. It looked like he copped a bump to the head in the second tackle of the game, which put him in Disneyland for a while. We've already seen that the English players are about to let these Australians know that they're in for a test match and a half.
Big defence now on Harrigan. Still he struggles with them though. It took three of them to put him down. Lazarus, I'm not sure if he knows that he's at the Sydney Stadium. Sheridan upended, great defence, loses it. The referee said that he wanted him to play the ball. That should have been play on to Australia.
Well, that's the problem that we're going to see crop up several times through this series, Graeme. The different interpretations by referees around the world. Now, in every other country in the world except New Zealand, if that had happened, it would have been play on.
We've seen one touch of brilliance from the red, white and blue. Now an opportunity. The race is on. Hancock is winning. Confidently picks it up on the run. Now Dennis Hale has said that Steadman was in front of the kicker.
Well, something surprising to me which happened there. We saw that kick put downfield. Now, Daryl Powell was one of the guys from Great Britain that was charging down there a million mile an hour. Martin Afai just showed us a couple of minutes ago how fast he was. He was languishing back in second gear, not even attempting to run that ball down. That kick was obviously meant for him.
Gillespie thought he might have had a bit more of a rest than this on the bench. He gets a first touch. Now Harrigan from a standing start. They come from everywhere. This is a cocky Great Britain outfit. Langer getting it away to Clyde. They're bustling them, moving up very quickly. Can they maintain the pace? Steve Walters from dummy half with Lazarus off. The Australians for just a moment a little bit disorganised. Jackson under pressure. Eddinghausen under pressure. They were trying to kick it and they couldn't get set. Last tackle. Langer. He decides to run it. Jackson. Jackson, great ball. Hancock gets clear. As this match opens up, Australia show the Englishmen just how much they can keep it alive. The handover on the last tackle. Gregory fired up, exchanges words with Hancock, but the Englishman will have the ball. 7 minutes gone. Meninga with a big... Daly it was, in fact, who came in with a big hit on Skerritt. Clark shows it. Punishing defence from the Australians. Now the Great Britain side received the penalty for Australia being inside the 5. An absorbing tussle in this opening passage so far now as the Englishmen settle. And you could not help but be impressed with them, Michael. 3-1 the penalties. We'll come back sideline shortly with this restart now to Dermott. Great punishing tackling. The hitman Gillespie on Crooks. Skerritt, he goes up the middle, and again Gillespie's there to finish him off. Quick play the ball. Gregory showing it, keeping the ball alive. Schofield, 40 metres out. This test match is showing plenty of skill already. Gregory, short blindside, shrugging off one tackle, getting it back for Lachlan to take over, but he gets driven. Sheridan is starting to dish it back along with Gillespie. Steadman waiting it to the sideline, trying to send Eddinghausen into the corner pocket. Looking to get 10 metres out, Eddinghausen. Clark there was great tackling. Australia now with their backs to the wall, 9 metres out from their own line. Bobby Lidner
He got nice and deep, tried to make the advantage line. Did well to get it 15 metres out. Bradley Clyde, good short ball. Jackson cops a high one. Andy Gregory knows that he might be lucky not to spend some time out of this stadium. Jackson was off a short ball from Clyde. Gregory just left a board right around the throat.
Well, the thing about Andy Gregory there is he's that small. He's honestly taken 3 steps up a ladder to jump and get him.
Well, I said he might be lucky. He's not so lucky. He grabs 10 minutes. And he is the playmaker. He's gone and out of here.
Yeah, bad luck for Great Britain there, but Andy obviously jumped in the air to get Peter Jackson, who showed remarkable restraint. Most people probably would have turned around and objected to the tackle. Jacko simply just looked around, nodded his head as if to say, well, it was bad luck.
I think Jackson, though, was thinking back to last year against New Zealand when he got sent off for retaliating. Another penalty now from Dennis Hale. He is trying to keep them apart. Jackson. He's not concerned about the high tackle. As he sends it into the 22, here is the first real test for Great Britain. Wishart, that left hamstring, still heavily strapped. Harrigan. Gillespie went as the decoy. Harrigan sets it up right in front of the post, 15 metres out. Set play, Clyde for Lindner. Crashing defence. Sensational defence down low from Andy Platt on Lindner. Lindner is in Disneyland too. Andy Platt has destroyed Lindner in that tackle. You want to tell me that this Great Britain side are not fired up? Crooks brings it away. Well, Michael O'Connor, I said it before, you could not be more than impressed with this English team.
They've started very well indeed. Major loss though, Andy Gregory, a silly play. I didn't see a lot in it, but 10 minutes in the sin bin, he's going to be missed.
Penalties just keep on coming. Schofield just marshals his troops, tries to settle things down as we still look ahead for a score in this first test of 1992. 5-2, the Australians have the advantage. The roar from the crowd as it comes off the side of the boot from Stedman. Great atmosphere here. Skerritt. They let him take it up by his lonesome. Now they take over on the fringe. Crooks. Both sets of forwards trying to make their mark on each other. Dennis Betts. He is the man that will be looking to control it on the fringe. The great ball runner who played so well back in 1990. Powell goes infield looking for an early touch for him. The backs have not seen too much. Schofield! Nobody home, he gets put down. Dennis Hale, the referee, said he had a clear view. Harrigan was the man who turned his back. Bradley Clyde to bring it back for Australia. Steve Walters looking for some runners. Langer is there. Harrigan puts it down. The ball was absolutely drilled at him.
I think we'll see a message go out from the Australian sideline pretty soon, Graham. Now, the Great Britain side opened the game up by throwing the ball around, trying to out-attack the Australians. The Australians have come back into it. They're trying to throw the ball around now instead of just settling play down, slowing things down, making sure that everybody's got their game plan in order and playing a good kick and chase game. That's all they've got to do, the Great Britain side at the moment, but they're getting a little bit too carried away trying to out-attack England.
Schofield still trying to find that little chip over the top and some space. Wishart. Skerritt over the top. Great defence below again from Platt. Cracking pace. Ball was forward and just about deliberately. Lucky that it's not a penalty. So some sloppy play from the Australians right on their own 22.
Yes, there was, and there wasn't too many available forwards there, Graham. There was plenty of people willing to let Bobby Lindner take that ruck. Fair few with hands on hips back behind the play.
Bradley Clyde having a final peek as Schofield feeds this scrum. Taking over, trying to lead for Gregory. Now Clark. Clark's throwing the ball. He was looking to go wide. He threw some dummies. Steadman. Still we look for a first try, and now it is the penalty. Schofield just quietens things down. It will be, I think, a penalty for being inside the 5 metres, just happening off away from the ball as Great Britain look for the quick play of the ball. Lachlan. Steadman was up in the line involved in that incident. But it is Lachlan. From St Helens in the north of England, 25 years of age, Lachlan. Around the corner he comes with a look in at the first points of this opening test match. Great Britain have been impressive, but it is wide. Eddinghausen still alive with the ball just a couple of metres out from their line. Pat, they've been under some pressure.
Haven't they ever? And they'd really be relishing the fact that they've only got 12 men on the field and have been able to enjoy this field position. That's Harrigan back into it. Gets it up towards the 22, but there's a wall of Great Britain defence there for him. The 2 second rowers in Platt and Betts have been enormous tonight in defence. They've put some huge hits on the Aussies. Meninga throws it wide. Again, the Australians looking to run it. Langer finds space, and he's got support. Where are they? He's looking on the inside. He's got Gillespie on the inside. Tries to go over the top. It's back to Langer. It'll play on, I think. Well,
yes, offside, coming off Gillespie's boot, going straight forward to Langer. Gillespie, I thought, should have taken the angle back in behind Langer to take the ball across to Michael Hancock on the left-hand wing. Getting a little bit confused there, but the Great Britain defence seemed to get back and tidy up pretty well after Langer got on the outside of Lee Crooks on the edge of the ruck.
For the speedier backs outside rather than go to Gillespie in the centre.
Yes, he was a little bit unfortunate that Australia were lined out this side. The majority of their quicker players, like Laurie Daly, were standing on this side of the ruck, but a clean break to Australia. That'll probably settle them down a little bit and stop the panic nerves and from the coaching staff on the bench.
Plenty of attention there for Platt. He's already handed out plenty. Schofield, a long ball out to Powell, but Powell is wrapped up in centre field. The Australian backline defence up quickly this time. They swing it on a wide blind. This is Dennis Betts. Works on the fringe of the ruck superbly, this man. Now back to Steadman. Plenty of time to get his kick away. All the Great Britain backs are offside. Steadman brings it up, and it's been a knock-on by Eddinghausen. So again, Great Britain can go on the attack on the Australian 22. And still they're playing with 12 men. So their skipper, Gary Schofield, will feed this scrum. Steadman standing up in the line. He has Clark outside him. Good tackle from Jackson to bring him down, and Eddinghausen finishes it off. They work the blind side. That pass looks suspect. Crooks inside the Australian quarter now. Here they come again. Platt, originally named in the front row, playing second row tonight, can play anywhere in the forwards, this man. Betts looks for the run around and goes himself. They're only about 8 metres out, Great Britain. They have numbers to the right. They swing it to the left. A long ball from Schofield. O'Fire takes it beautifully under pressure from Wishart. And Hale has found another penalty. Australia up inside the 5. Schofield looking for a quick tap. He'll take it, but there's a stack of Australian defence there. Great Britain are only about a metre out. Dermott to dummy half. To Schofield, he's calling the shots beautifully. This time he's tied up by Clyde, but manages to get it back. They have a replacement on the field, and that's Joe Lydon. Well, Great Britain enjoying this territorial advantage by virtue of 4 straight penalties. They work at the blind. Dermott, a long ball to Newlove, and Newlove is driven back in great defence. Michael Hancock saving the day for Australia. Platt wants it. He takes it up the centre. Another good bustling run by the second rower. Schofield calling for it. Clark to his skipper. Oh, that's great defence out wide by the Australians. They're throwing it desperately, but they've lost 20 metres. Brilliant defence out wide again by Wishart, reading it superbly and coming in to snuff out that attack.
Listen, a strange option taken there by the Great Britain team, who elected to kick that loose ball out of play. I would have thought it would have been a far more sensible idea to let Australia come up with a football. At least then they would have had one tackle down, only 3 or 4 more to go before they would have cleared the ball through a kick.
That's Bradley Clyde, about 28 metres out. Sirenen. Oh, had he been able to pop that ball to Bobby Lindner, there was trouble. Jackson wants it. Short ball to his captain. But Platt ties him up. Oh, and there's plenty of attention late for Meninga. But Captain Colossus stands firm. Langer now. Langer finds great space in the middle of the ruck. He's stepping and weaving. Overcame Lydon over the top, and there's a penalty. And Lydon is going to be called back by Hale. Andy Gregory is back on the field, and Langer feeling the effects of that tackle.
Alfie's already starting to cut the English team up. We saw Lydon go a little bit high, but then again, when you think about it, it's fairly hard not to go high on Alan Langer while you're tackling him. But he really is displaying that footwork that he's become very famous for on both sides of the border, Alan Langer. He's the man that really has got Australia on the front foot.
This is Wishart. Taken by Crooks. Walters options either way to Bobby Lindner. Set play from the Australians. There was a swinging arm in that tackle. Walters again finds Sirenen on the charge. Sirenen's only about 2 metres out. To Langer. Langer to Jackson. Jackson looks on the inside. But there's plenty of Great Britain defence there. Again, Dennis Betts to the forefront. Langer skirting wide again to Meninga. Meninga dragged down head on, and a brave tackle by little Andy Gregory. Langer again calling the shots. Chips it away, but it's going to go dead in goal. So that attack comes to nothing for Australia. And that was the most consistent they've been all night, Wally.
Yes. Unfortunately, Australia not able to sustain the same amount of pressure on the try line as the Great Britain team did down the other end of the field here. But I'm sure at the halfway mark of this first half that both the team coaches will be fairly happy with the team, or with their team's defensive effort. They've been under a fair bit of pressure at their own end of the field, and they've managed to repel all forms of defence. And we certainly do have 26 very talented attacking players out here, so there must be some very great defensive efforts being shown.
This time Betts steps on the inside, looks for a hole up the centre of the ruck. It wasn't there. Clark was on the charge, but it goes back to Steadman again, angling towards that touchline. He's got a pretty good boot on him, this guy. Finding touch about 8 metres out from the Australian line. In back play, Dermott is receiving attention for Great Britain. So this match has already taken its toll on several of the players. Now Dermott limping slowly back towards this scrum. Langer to feed while Great Britain try and sort out who'll form their front row.
Well, they just decided to have a meeting and wait until he's got up there. Well, it's worked.
Langer anxious as usual to Wishart. Head on with Schofield. And Schofield's equal to the task. This is Bradley Clyde. Already got through a mountain of work tonight, the Australian lock. In the centre of the ruck is Bob Lindner. Another great charge. He's obviously recovered after that heavy knock a few moments ago. Now Gillespie stepping. Plenty of Great Britain defence there. Walters finding a hole and then finds Jackson. Jackson looks for support. He had Langer there, but not quick enough, little Alfie. On the 5th tackle, Langer looking to kick. O'Fire's back there. Has got it covered well, O'Fire. O'Fire on Wishart. Wishart around his neck and lets him go. Here goes Chariots again, and look at the pace. Overcomes Eddinghausen. Can he stop him again? And yes, he does. The second time tonight that E.T. has saved certain Great Britain tries. But boy, isn't he on fire tonight?
Yes, and we just see the form that Afire has shown here, just why he is the fastest man in the game. I'll bet Paul Keating's glad that there's not an election tonight, because Andrew Ettinghausen would be the Prime Minister at the moment. Classic cover defending tackle from the fullback on 2 occasions. That's just straight out of the textbook stuff. Ettinghausen, I'm sure, would be well thanked by his Australian teammates. It really came against the run of play. A clearing kick from Alan Langer that really should have had more chasers through there. Australia really throwing the ball around. They've got to settle down the play at the moment.
That was Sirenin popping up the high ball. Meninga back to Hancock. His first real chance to move tonight, and he's created plenty of space in the centre of the ruck. Hancock. Oh, he beat 7 or 8 defenders there. A great run from the Broncos winger. An attempted trip. Well, we saw that, but that's 25 metres back from where Hancock has been tackled. One of the Great Britain defenders who was beaten pointless threw his leg out, and Hale has taken the play back to that position to award a penalty to Australia.
Well, Michael Hancock displaying the form that's made him the form winger in the Winfield Cup competition this year, getting out of 4 or 5 tackles. Really a strong play, but kind of confusing to see the referee take the play back so far. It's kind of like living until you're 70 or 80 years of age before your spouse gives you one of those long life pills.
Well, Australia have the penalties, but whether you're at the stadium or watching right round Australia on 7 Sport, we have got a classical test match on our hands. Michael O'Connor, this has really opened up.
Yeah, that was a puzzling decision by the referee. He called it advantage rule, but it wasn't really. It put Australia back another 20 yards. But this test is just full of everything. I see Sean Edwards warming up on the sideline. He's the telling player. I believe he is the most dangerous player in the Great Britain squad. Look out for him.
Yeah, Edwards warming up along with Lucas, but there was no doubt that that elbow and forearm right over the top on Harrigan might have easily earned a lot more. Steve Walters now to get the Australians on the attack. Gillespie. 27 metres out, Australia. Sirenin bounces out of 2, 3, drags the Englishman into their 22. Steve Walters has Langer and the back line set. Meninga with a little bit of room. Daly, Wishart. Great save. Schofield was there. Now it's Daly. Once again, he's forced back inside. He loses it in the tackle, but Australia get the penalty. They continue with the advantage here in that fashion.
Yeah, well, Laurie Daly's milked a penalty there. He probably was forced down a little bit by Dennis Betts there, but he's got the end result that Australia were looking for, the opportunity to post 2 points. But we really are seeing this match swing from one end of the field to the other, and the way these back lines are throwing the football about, they're certainly giving the touch judges more work than they've probably had for the last 8 or 10 weeks.
Rod Wishart, 4 tests he's played. He's been under pressure during the week with that hamstring. Now he has the goal-kicking duties. Well, Mick, I just wonder if Great Britain can get away with the intensity of the game if they keep on giving up the penalties.
Yeah, that's true, Graeme, but they really do look dangerous out wide. That Martin Afire, you can say what you like about him, but he has just got electrifying pace. He'll take on anybody in the game, and it's only been 2 great pieces of play by Andrew Ettinghausen that's kept the scoreline to what it is at the moment.
Now it's Australia with a look in. We're still waiting for points. 20 metres out. Getting adjacent to the posts. This is valuable. It is absolutely valuable. Grabs the goal. Australia 2, Great Britain 0. Australia 2, Great Britain 0. Underway again. Langer sends it across to Ettinghausen and Sirenin. Clark is down below. Bradley Clyde, right on the 22. In the opposition half, it has been Great Britain who have had possession, 23 tackles to Australia's 14 down the other end. Jackson now, short ball and a good one. Great hands, Meninga. Beautiful play from Wishart. Meninga again, still travelling. Meninga gets it in. Gillespie, he won't have the pace, but he gets it. Jackson, Meninga started it. Meninga will finish it. What a stunner. We have waited a long time, but what a stunner. The stadium absolutely erupts. Just watch Meninga's involvement in this sensational try. This is a classic. Jackson's ball over the top was a great one. Gillespie did not have the legs, but he kept it alive. Jackson saw Meninga there again. He was too strong and too big.
Yes, and the big fella handled 3 times in this try. It looked like the movement might break down with Gillespie, but pretty common sense work from Andrew Ettinghausen. Again, made sure the ball got split wide. Meninga's strength again being displayed to post his 7th try against Great Britain in Test football.
The stadium more than happy with the Australian captain. You said Ettinghausen might be Prime Minister. I think we found another one.
Well, the big fella's been struggling for form all year long, Graeme. I don't think that's being too harsh on the big bloke. He really had a difficult time during the interstate series. Playing at Lang Park, found the form again. A lot of people said in the 3rd game, the deciding Origin match, Meninga struggled again and may have been even lucky to make the Australian side for this match. But he certainly found that form again. Wherever he hit it, it wasn't hard to find.
Great Britain have missed 13 tackles. Australia have missed 4. Now it is Wishart. Wishart looking to add 2 more. He sends it down the middle. They're doing plenty of dancing here. And Wishart does it again. Australia stretch it to 8-0. While the Englishmen were looking so good down the other end, but the defence again has got them.
That's right. Well, it really was skill over bad defence, I thought there, Graeme. But it really is going to be interesting to see how the Great Britain team come back after this. Now, what was important in that try was the way it was constructed. If it had been a simple pushover try from dummy half, it probably would have been fairly easy to cop on the chin. But the Great Britain side have conceded virtually a 75 to 80 metre try, and that really does sap your confidence.
Harrigan with a memorable charge. But there was great defence again on the end. Now Sirinen, the forwards coming into their own after that try and lifting in confidence. Langer has been dangerous. This time he's monstered by Lee Crooks. The Englishman making the most tackles. There is little in it. They've had some great opportunities. They haven't been able to convert to points. Ettinghausen with a mile of time for the kick. Down it falls for Steadman, and a big green and gold line right in his way. He did his best to get to the other side. Martin Dermott from dummy half. Gregory takes over, looking for Dennis Betts. He hasn't been able to get clear the back rower at all in this first half so far. Schofield to Skerritt on the fringe. Powell back for Newlove. Newlove has nowhere to go. Quick play of the ball, and Darryl Powell helps himself to a dozen metres. The errors going against Great Britain. Now a penalty to give them a chance to go deeper.
A pretty important penalty this for the Great Britain side too, Graeme. We see 6 minutes left on the scoreboard. the Great Britain side now have got to try and put a little bit more pressure on the Australian defence. I know that they put a hell of a lot on so far, but a magnificent kick will see them enabled to launch an attack from just 10 metres out.
Here they go, the Englishmen. Skerritt, 5 metres out, Great Britain, looking to hit back, looking to open it up. Gregory, he goes wide, extra wide for Clark, stepping inside. 10 metres out, but right near the posts. Schofield went blind, Gregory stays open! Magnificent hands! I don't know how Powell hung on to that. A fire gets it back. Gregory, Crooks. The defence comes up quickly. Great bustling from Australia. Now it's Harrigan. Harrigan gets it back. Daly. Very little break in play as this pace continues. Hancock. He took a strong hit, but he kept on going. Gillespie stepped around Gregory. Here comes the Australians. Steve Walters, quickly from dummy half, they were all offside. Inside the last 5. Jackson, great ball. Lindner, Meninga, inside and out. Meninga had 2 men outside. Last tackle. Bradley Clyde, no. This should have been a try. Bradley Clyde shows his disappointment. Great opportunity.
Yes, Mel, there were 2 men over. He simply just had to draw the fullback and offload to Clyde or Wishart, or perhaps even Eddinghausen on the inside. 4 points gone begging.
Clyde tried to steal it down the blind side. Well, it's been a question asked for a lot of years, Michael O'Connor, especially since their last win in 1970. Can they continue to match the intensity because the Australians keep hitting back?
I think they can, Graeme, but they're starting to show signs of wear now. This is a critical period, this next 5 minutes. I think they can regather at half-time and come back. But certainly Peter Jackson and Alfie Lang are really igniting the Australian backline.
Great Britain. You are so right now as Great Britain go back on the last to try and get away from this danger zone. Hancock. There has been a ton of skill in this first half. Now Daly to show his. Great pass. Lindner looking to play it quickly. Daly to Meninga. Wishart. He gets finished off on the inside. Langer showing the ball, stepping.
Oh,
Harrigan with a one-hander. Schofield won't get away from Hancock. Gillespie down to receive attention. Stedman. Daly's there to cover. The chase is on. Daly saves it. Magnificent chip ahead.
Common sense shown by Laurie Daly. Had to wait and see where the bounce of the ball was going to take it before he placed himself in a position that got himself in strike there. Very good positioning from Daly. A lot of people may ask what he was doing back there, but he's probably got the common sense to realise that Eddinghausen was involved in the tackle, which kept him at marker.
The Australians soaking up so much time. Meninga in no real hurry. Inside the last 2.
Let's go! Go on, boys!
Great Britain, they have worked so hard for it. Can they find the try? Lee Crooks, the battle for the Ashes. It is taking its toll already on these 2 teams as they tie at a half-time. Clark came from a mile back. Andy Platt, Gregory. They will go for goal. The advantage played, but only for a very short time.
Graeme, and that move there, Malcolm really has been doing his homework there. That was exactly the same move that New South Wales put on in the first State of Origin game this year that hung up Mal Meninga, caught him flat-footed, which got the first try of the match for the Blues. He's obviously been trying to work that same move around Australia's or Mal Meninga's defensive pattern.
Andy Gregory. He will have to dig deep in his bag of tricks for the second half. Now it is Lee Crooks. This is right next to the post. Lee Crooks to take over from Lachlan. Right next to the post. They really do deserve to have something to show on the board. Crooks. They're on the board. Great Britain made their mark in this Test series of 1992. What a great first half. A tremendous Test match on our hands here at the stadium. It is Australia who have the advantage, but there is little in it. 8-2, we're back with more right after this. Welcome back to the stadium. A sellout crowd here in Sydney has witnessed a marvellous first 40 minutes, as you all have at home exclusively on 7 Sport. 8-2, the Australians leading here, but that so easily could have been a different scoreline. It was a marvellous start for Great Britain. They were impressive early, Wally Lewis, and dangerous.
They certainly were. I think they finished off the way that they started the first half. They went a little bit flat in the middle period of that first half, and I think that was only to be expected after such a lightning start by both teams. Australia kind of looked the worst team in the first 15 minutes or so, but I'm sure that now that the Australians have got their nose in front, the coach Bob Fulton will be making sure that they don't make any errors whatsoever in their own territory.
Well, one man who wasn't making errors early on, he looked dangerous too once things settled down. It was the little Australian halfback Alan Langer.
Meninga throws it wide. Again, the Australians looking to run. Langer finds space, and he's got support. Where are they? He's looking on the inside. He's got Gillespie on the inside. Tries to go over the top. It's back to Langer who will play on, I think.
Yes, offside.
Well, Wally, this could have been anything for the Australians.
Yeah, it could have been. Had the pass got over the top, it was probably a certain 4 points for Australia. But Langer picks his mark very well, doesn't he? He makes sure that when he runs at the right people, runs on the edge of the ruck, and this time around he picked out Lee Crooks. Of course, Lee not the fastest man in town, weighing in around about 17.5, 18 stone in the old terms, and when you're weighing up the two characters, it's not easy to, or it's not very hard to find out who's going to be the quicker on their feet.
Well, it is easy to work out just who is the fastest man between both these teams. We've seen some great breaks made by the man they call the Black Flash, Martin Afire.
On the fifth tackle, Langer looking to kick. O'Fire's back there, has got it covered well, O'Fire. O'Fire on Wishart. Wishart around his neck and lets him go. Here goes Chariots again, and look at the pace. Overcomes Ettinghausen. Can he stop him again? And yes, he does. The second time tonight that ET has saved certain Great Britain tries.
Yes, well, equal to the task, this was just a great save as well.
It certainly was terrific from Ettinghausen, but as we saw as Afire hit the deck over the sideline in Ettinghausen's tackle, I think he realised he took the wrong option. Maybe he should have headed infield and tried to round him off on the outside, or perhaps even grab a kick to head, because, you know, when the two blokes have matched up speed pound for pound, when they're both got the football without the football in their hands, I'm sure that Afire would get there 6 months before anybody else on that football field.
That was so close for Great Britain. As far as tries were concerned, we had to wait to the 30-minute mark. But I can tell you, it was worth the wait. Laid on and finished by Captain Courageous Mal Meninga. Great hands, Meninga. Beautiful play from Wishart. Meninga again, still travelling. Meninga gets it in. Gillespie, he won't have the pace, but he gets it. Jackson, Meninga started it. Meninga will finish it. What a stunner.
Well, there was criticism during the season so far, Wally, about the lack of skill shown in the State of Origin. And as far as the State of Origin match is concerned, it's been made up for in this first 40 of the test.
Oh, it certainly has been. We've seen bright, open, attacking play that really has had the fans on the edge of their seat all the way through. We've given Meninga the raps he deserves for this try. He really did do a great job in handling 3 times during the movement. But one fellow we've probably forgotten to mention was Peter Jackson. He got the initial ball over the top after Alan Langer's service and backed up. There was a great pass from Eddinghausen, who decided just to feed the ball instead of running himself, onto Jackson, who did very well to back up, and onto Meninga. And, well, the big fella, as soon as he saw that sideline, there was no stopping him.
Yeah, well, is there no stopping Australia? We've got 40 minutes left in this great first test of this 1992 battle for the Ashes. We're back with a lot more action as the crowd awaits here at half-time. Don't you go away. The city nightlife is taking over away from the stadium as we look back to Sydney. 8-2 Australia over Great Britain. Marvellous first half of Test Rugby League. A stunning try to Australia that has given the advantage. It's punishing all right out there for both teams. Meninga leads them back out with 40 minutes remaining. The wingers Hancock and Wishart out together. Harrigan and Gillespie, all the forwards have had to work hard. Australia, can they go on with it? Great Britain, can they come back? Langer has been brilliant, no doubt about it. There's been some great saves from both sides, some near things. Plenty of open rugby league, which is what everybody wants. Great Britain have still got plenty of tricks left. Ellery Hanley. The great debate all week was whether he was going to play. They still need his great talents before this series is going to be called quits for anybody. The English fans think they can come back. The most vital statistic here, as far as anybody is concerned, is the missed tackles. Great Britain, if they come up with that number again, will fall in the second half. The singing is still on. But who will be singing in great voice at the end? We are about to find out. Sirenen led the way in the tackle count. Crooks was good for Great Britain. Now it is Sirenen to bring it back for the first time in this last 40. Everybody should be fresh. Wally, what would you have said at half-time to the Great Britain side?
Well, I think the Great Britain side instructions from Malcolm really would have been that they don't panic. They know that they're still in the game, and the way they came back in the final 5 or 6 minutes of that first half was enough to indicate that they're still well and truly in the game. They're only 1 try out of it. I think what they've got to try and do now, though, is make sure that they consolidate a position and try and build an attacking raid from an established area around about 20 to 30 metres out, instead of trying to out-attack the Australians from 70 or 75 metres away from the try line.
Here's some good attack from Steve Walters. Last tackle, Langer to look with the kick. Trying to bury it deep. Newlove will go back. Right near his line. The pressure and the heat will mount. It will be all on here in defence from Australia. Clark to bring it back. He has covered a lot of territory. He's let nobody down, taking over from the great man Hanley. Now it's Skerritt. Goes down the blind side. Great Britain had the advantage as far as possession in the opposition half in the first 40. They had 30 tackles at Australia's end. Australia only had 16. Mick O'Connor, any late mail at half-time from the dressing rooms. We'll come back to Michael in just a second as Gregory tries a little chip. That is at the wrong end of the park, but a big advantage and a bonus for the Englishman. Skerritt. Skerritt gets out near halfway. Crooks. Schofield with numbers out wide. Great defence. Meninga. Ball and all. Crooks
Short ball up for Platt. Good support play amongst the forwards. Schofield thought about a kick. Stayed with Powell. Powell has a mile of time to go to Clark. Clark head down, straightens up. Last tackle. They switch. Stedman kicking. Eddinghausen is across with time. But he can't beat Stedman. Sean Edwards gets the call. Australia bringing it away from the 22. Ledner. The defence was on him quickly. Jackson has Clyde joining in. Clyde away from 2 defenders. Well, Michael O'Connor, any late mail from those rooms?
No late mail at all, Graeme. I think Malcolm really would be pretty upset with the number of missed tackles. Also the kicking game. I think in the first half they decided to chip kick too often rather than pin the Australian side down in their quarter.
Harrigan had Eddinghausen outside. There was an overlap, but he didn't unload. Meninga, he will kick. It will travel straight to Stedman. Stedman with a great step. He was originally a 5'8". Made the move at fullback with the Castleford club in England, and he's been rewarded with a test jumper. Crooks just ankle tapped as he tried to play it. Skerritt, a little bit of a step. The referee plays a long advantage. Australia offside. Schofield. I wonder what the captain will come up with here with Edwards out there. Plenty of options now around the ruck with Gregory and Edwards. Sensational combination from the Wigan club and Schofield. They've got a few aces. Penalties are starting to bridge. Skerritt. This time he takes it up and there's no penalty on the end of it. Right on the 22, short blindside. They look that way. They stay open. Crooks, support inside from Platt. The Englishmen setting themselves for a set piece. Gregory, once more, switching. Edwards. Edwards has the option outside with Betts. It's out near the sideline. No room to move down there. Edwards, run around with Lydon. Lydon can't beat any defence from Sirinen and also Steve Walters. Andy Platt showed it. Looked on the inside for a moment and it just opened. Last tackle. Gregory to the in goal. Eddinghausen make that save number 3. And next summer put him straight at first slip. Super stuff from Eddinghausen. Super stuff from Ledner. Harrigan. Good quick play of the ball. He gets them away from the 22.
Pretty ordinary defence from the Great Britain side there, Graeme. Just standing rather than moving up and putting a pressure on the Australians like they were in the first half. I'm sure that coach Malcolm Riley will be sending out instructions as soon as possible that they've got to keep the pressure on Australia near their own line. That's the only area of the field Australia have had trouble getting away from.
Not exactly a good kick from Meninga. Stedman again good on his feet though. But Sirenen's there. And he monsters him. Betts. Stepping. He's 40 metres out from his own line. Skerritt. Andy Gregory trying to find a support. No one's there. He was hammered by Gillespie after he passed it. Great Britain can't find a hole. Edwards gets it to Schofield. Did I say they couldn't find a way through? Powell, Langer was there when needed. A fire. Goes back the other way. Still going. Last tackle. Australia hanging on. Great Britain calling for a penalty. Now to the in goal. Eddinghausen takes it easily. They snuff it out again.
I thought we might have seen a penalty go to Great Britain there. When that break was made, Martin Afire was racing down the sideline. Rod Wishart did an excellent job to bring the fastest man in rugby league back to one of the slowest.
Fire was screaming for it. Gillespie. Skerritt meets him head on, gets support from Dermott. Langer. Ledner. Great Britain, Michael O'Connor, have had a lot of opportunities. They can't put them away, though.
That's right. I thought that was a very poorly timed judge that kicked that one of Andy Gregory's. They had the pressure on. I probably would have run it, put it into the in goal as a grubber, but they're playing very well. There's nothing in this game.
Langer was tripped as he tried to get through it. The penalty will come. Right on halfway, the Optus replay as Langer puts it in behind the line. Rather surprisingly, in England, that is an automatic dismissal.
Yes. Well, once again, the rules and the way they're interpreted around the world, they certainly do have a lot of changes, that's for sure. The 5-yard one at the moment is probably the one that's sticking out to the crowd here. We're used to seeing teams in Australia standing back closer to 12 or 13 metres rather than 3 or 4.
Sheridan with a run around. Ledner doesn't mind about the close defence. He has been hustling all night. Langer. Short ball up for Harrigan. He steamrolls Edwards. Climbed all over him. Harrigan claims that he's been hit high, though. He's already copped one in the first half. Jackson. Big back line. Clever stuff. Great hands from Daly. Meninga keeping it alive back on the inside. Clyde! Australia do it again. Oh, Meninga's having a night. The captain grabs a double as he makes another test appearance for his country. Optus replay. The defence looked as though they had them covered. Great footwork and hands from Daly. Meninga has again handled twice. Over the top of Fire, couldn't get a hand on it. Steadman had no chance.
No, he certainly didn't, but it could have been a touch-and-go situation here for Australia. Jacko turned the back to fire a bullet-like pass out, as we saw Laurie Daly set up the situation for Mel, but the try really was laid on here by Bradley Clyde. He beat 3 defenders, a possible 4th on the way. Could have been an intercept try to Martin Fire there, but Mel, well, he was lurking there, and when you get that guy that close to the try line against a fellow that's half his weight, give up, go home and read a book, save yourself the energy.
Well, Graeme, I can tell you now that makes Mal Meninga the highest point scorer in all matches for Australia. You remember last year against New Zealand, he became the highest point scorer in Tests for Australia. He's now overtaken Graeme Langlands. He has 508 points in all matches for his country. And if we didn't know already, it certainly stamps him as one of the greats to ever wear the green and gold.
It is the 13th time the man from Canberra has led Australia in a test. He is not superstitious, is he? 28 missed tackles against Great Britain. They will rue that statistic in a big way. Wishart 2 from 2. This one from out near the chalk. Right out near the chalk. Wishart just shaves. But a big scoreline for Australia. It is 12-2. On the Subaru scoreboard, 7 Sport exclusively bringing you the battle for the Ashes 1992. There is but 10 points in it. Scoreline that may or may not really reflect this match. They have had chances, Great Britain, but they have missed too many of these tackles. Jackson has been a danger on the fringe. So has Langer. Ledner's been dangerous in the forwards. Now with the little Australian halfback again, stepping and ducking right on halfway. Lucas gets warmed up for the Englishman. Eddinghausen. Great Britain know they need to score now, right now. A fire. He gets dragged down and then finished off over the top by Gillespie. Clark. He's not stopped trying. But this mistake might lead to another try. They have the scrum in the feed right there where they want it.
Some very good pressure again put on by Bradley Clyde and Peter Jackson. The Australian defence now swarming up on the outside, realising that that's Great Britain's best chance of getting on the outside of Australia's defensive line, throwing it wide.
And wide they go. Jackson. Eddinghausen away from Schofield. Away from a fire and Powell. Skerritt leaves the play as Clyde settles it down. They're dropping off in defence. Now they were going too high in the tackle. Clyde hammered high by Clark. Referee right on the spot to give Wishart one more chance. This is a big buffer chance for Australia. Will put so much more pressure on Great Britain if they can find the try. Lee Crooks said we must lift. Wishart rather calmly still sets his mind for the two. Steadman, minor injury, concerned with a knee. 15 metres in from the sideline. 20 metres out, Wishart. His most vital attempt to give more than just cushions. Big comfort zone coming up. No!
12 points to 2 here at the Sydney Football Stadium. Clyde onto halfway and dragged down. That's the newcomer, Lucas, for Great Britain. Gillespie has been out there most of the game since Glenn Lazarus suffered that nasty head cut. Langer wide to Jackson. Cut out ball to Daly. They have space. Hancock, the cover defence is coming quickly. He's trying to step inside, but there's 4 players there to try and drag him down. He's lost the ball, Hancock. Scrummel pack about 3 or 4 metres inside Great Britain territory. You could see the attention Hancock was receiving here. 4 Great Britain players there, and eventually the ball dropped free. Edwards to Steadman coming into the line. This is Betts. They're not making too much ground, Great Britain. The Australians are right on top. Edwards out wide. This is Gregory dummying. Throws a loose pass out wide to Lydon, and they're losing ground, Great Britain. The crowd love it. Lucas on the run around. Still they're going backwards. They haven't yet got past the advantage line in this set of 6. Edwards out wide to the skipper. Schofield looking for runners. Tried to put Powell in a hole. But that superb defence over there by the Australians, and that was the skipper, Mal Meninga. Eddinghausen takes it well. Can get past Clark with his pace, and then there's a bit of space for him. Eddinghausen decides to go himself and gets it all the way to the halfway mark. There seemed to be a little knock on in there. Hale hasn't picked it up. Langer out wide to Bradley Clyde. Hasn't he been a danger man tonight? Langer calling it to the right again and trying to marshal his troops out that side. He has Jackson. And Lindner on the charge. Look at Lindner. Steaming inside is Meninga. It's gone to ground. Edwards interfered with it, knocked it back, and Great Britain will come up with it in a really dangerous position again. Meninga was looking for try number 3.
Unfortunate for Australia there, Pat, but it was a very well-constructed British defensive effort to get back there. They were split wide open. 5 Pommies managed to get back there in order to effect that tackle. Very well done by the Great Britain fullback Graeme Steadman, who just backed off and gave the rest of the players enough time to catch up. As we see here, Bobby Lindner taking the ball up. Sean Edwards it was who managed to get himself in between. There they were, the English, though, getting back to support their fullback.
There was a penalty in the midst of that. Australia offside. And Great Britain have it up to right on halfway now. Harrigan, he's done a power of tackling for Australia tonight. Crooks works it on the inside to Lucas, and Lucas will be dragged down about 5 metres inside Australian territory. They throw it wide to Betts. Lindner chases him and it makes a good tackle. Australians are tackling beautifully at the moment. Great Britain having trouble making any leeway. This is Edwards. Now there's a little bit of space from Schofield, but Schofield is hunted and knocked to the ground by Daly. Jackson, a dummy half. The kick goes through. Hancock has a little space on the sideline and uses every metre of it.
Great work from Bradley Clyde to move out of the marker spot and put a great deal of pressure on Lee Crooks. The kick only ended up making about 6 or 7 metres. Australia back on the halfway, attacking once again. The Pommies are just starting to feel the effects of it now, thinking that here we go again syndrome's about to happen.
Well, a host of swinging arms in that tackle on Sirinen. And that was a good tackle out wide by Betts on Jackson. Jackson had numbers. Daly decides to go the blind side. Can't get it inside to Mel Meninga. Langer. Dummying and straight through goes Alan Langer. Now where's the support? Oh boy, that was high. Andy Gregory on his opposite number. They've still got time, Australia. Hancock. Oh, he's just put a foot into the touch as he was trying to mobilise that back line again. That was Arnaud Martin-O'Fire early in the match. The winger just putting his foot over. Look at Langer making this clean bust. He's had a picnic in the middle of the park, and that was Gregory coming in very high.
You kind of get the impression that Andy Gregory doesn't like his opposing halfback to make too many breaks in the game, as he introduced his forearm to help his chin on that occasion.
Edwards from dummy half, trying to inspire this Great Britain team. They're just a little flat at the moment, going nowhere in attack. Schofield to Crooks, and Crooks is knocked down right on his own quarter line. Powell. And that was Lucas. Fire. Gregory looking for support. Now there's a little bit of space. It goes to Leyden. Leyden on Hancock. Hancock huts him down. Good defence. Edwards the dummy half. Back to Stedman, who puts his boot to it. It's over Eddinghausen's head and will chase down towards the Australian try line. There's only 2 or 3 Great Britain chasers. They need a spark, Great Britain, if they're going to get back into this match. It's 12 points to 2 at the Sydney Football Stadium, and we're midway through the second half. 20 minutes of football remaining. Walters looking to work the blind side, and he has an able runner in Lindner. Lindner charges it over the corner line, and another great run. Here they come again, the Australian forwards, wave after wave. They've really created space for their backs tonight. Now Langer's calling for it. Walters goes from dummy half and makes another incisive bust. Up over halfway, 15 or 20 metres that time for Walters. The long ball to Clyde. Clyde puts the boot for it. There's only Daly chasing it through though. Stedman has plenty of time to pick it up in his own try line. Can't get past Daly. And Michael O'Connor, they're just a little flat at the moment, Great Britain. Come back to Michael in just a moment. It's one out stuff from Great Britain, and Schofield's trying to lead by example. Clark to dummy half. That's Jackson. All the Great Britain replacements on at the moment. That's been touched. And it's ruled to have gone forward and not on. So still Great Britain under pressure. Alfie Langer to feed this scrum just 10 metres outside the Great Britain try line, right in front of the post. Plenty of options for the Aussies. Daly moves over to the right. Jackson calling the shots. Looking for space to set up his skipper for try number 3, and offside. Jackson looking for the quick tap. But sanity has prevailed here, Wally. And in they'll come for the kick and goal.
No, it's, I think you'll find it's a differential penalty. Shoot the goal in it, and whether Australia would be all that unhappy about it. They've got the opportunity now to mount an attacking raid against a tired-looking British outfit. They've Harrigan to try and push home the advantage now, as we see Gillespie, and he's gone ahead, and
He's run into the posts, I think. Had that goal post not been there, I think he could have forged over. Langer looking to dummy and then throw it, lost his footing, and that gives the defence time to knock him over. Edwards over the top. Walters looking the open side. Here come the Australians charging again. This is Bobby Lindner. Slips the ball back to Walters. Walters to Jackson. There's numbers here. Jackson gets to within 2 metres and still they can't score. How much pressure can they stand? Walters trying to dive over, but he's held up as well. They must come left. They have numbers left. Siren standing, going to go himself. And that is the match winner. That's the clincher here as Siren dives over under the post. It's 16 points to 2. And there's 16 minutes left. It had to come. Great Britain were under pressure from every angle. The outside backs were up quickly. On the Optus replay, we see Sirenin looking out wide and then diving over himself. And no one can stop the big man, all 110 kilos of him.
Pat, the pressure was just continuing to build there. The English, the last 2 times they've had the football, they've managed to drop it inside 3 tackles. The pressure was just enormous. It just kept building and building, and eventually something had to give. And unfortunately for the Poms, it was right in the middle of the ruck. It's a certain 6 points to Australia that will put the game well in Australia's control. We hadn't have seen that try scored under the post there by Sirenin. Any one of 6 or 7 players could have scored out on the left-hand side here for Australia. There was that much of an overlap. The Englishmen just looked that tired they couldn't be bothered to come out this side. Who can blame them? They've been under enormous pressure over the last 10 minutes or so.
Well, what a night for Big Ciro. His first test on Australian soil. He's played 12 tests, but none of them in front of his home crowd, and that is his first test try. And it's going to be worth 6 points because Wishart won't miss this one. He doesn't. At the Sydney Football Stadium, it's 18 points to 2, and Great Britain have a power of work to get back from here. There's only 15 minutes remaining in this match.
Good restart. Saranac. Subaru scoreboard, first test of 1992 in the battle for the Ashes, and it is Australia showing the way. Tremendous second half. The green and gold machine is very well oiled here at the stadium. They are well and truly rolling, Mike. Harrigan. 40 metres out. Langer. Gillespie. Jackson was shaping to send this ball down deep, but the penalty goes against the Australians.
Well, Graeme, I think that is what's commonly termed in the football world as a sympathy penalty, that one. Really, there wasn't too much wrong with it. Jacko was being molested as he was getting up to play the football. It didn't have the opportunity to stand up and play it correctly.
Well, Mick, Ellery Hanley will be called for in a big way now for the second.
He certainly would be. They've really missed Ellery out there, but the guy that filled in for him, Phil Clark, he's a player that not many people out here in Australia have seen, but I've been impressed. He's made a couple of mistakes, but he's a Great Britain under-21 captain. I think he's had a fine game.
Platt setting up for Gregory. He handed the ball at Clark, and it comes away. The knock-on will go against Great Britain. Plenty of defence there from Australia. Lazarus has finally gone back sideline. What's the full story, Michael O'Connor, here with Lazarus?
Yes, Graeme. Glenn came off in with a head bin, with a cut to the back of his head, a deep gash. He's had to have 15 stitches inserted. But in the first minute of the game, he got a bad cork in his hip. And when he cooled down in the sin bin, or in the blood bin, sorry, he was unable to come back on. And his replacement, David Gillespie, played particularly well.
Walters. Gillespie has had a fine game. Lidner has as well. Surprisingly, Great Britain maintained the advantage in the opposition half with possession by 10 tackles, 44 to 34. It's been Australia, though, who have come up with 3 tries. Walters. 38 out from their own line, Australia. They've been in camp for a week. A camp that has seen them get together in a very impressive fashion. A fire. A rare touch for him with the ball. The penalty goes against Australia from being inside the 10 metres, is it, from the kick? Well, Fire tried to move on his feet.
He was certainly boxed in fairly well from the Australian defence, but by the amount of time that a Fire took to pick the ball up, it just didn't appear as though he really wanted the football. Andy Gregory there obviously voicing his opinion about something, but he's one player that Malcolm really will be wanting to lift his game a little bit. Andy's a fellow that normally is a standout performer for the Great Britain side. He hasn't managed to stamp his authority on this match all that well. He still played quite strongly, but usually he is a player that's a standout performer that's by far the best on the field.
Now Gregory is looking daggers at a man twice his size. Harrigan came in with a big charge over the top. Hale separates the teams, and he also tells Great Britain to get on with it. Trainer rushes out after the tackle from Harrigan. The Englishmen have got to get their minds back on the game. Forget about the referee on this Optus replay. Lucas hit it up. Shoulder charge over the top, copped him high. Forearm, it looked like. Harrigan again in there with strong defence. Lucas is still down. His 12 teammates go in pursuit of their first try. Just outside the Australian 22. 10 minutes only. Edwards, Gregory and Schofield are required to get them on the deck here. They get another penalty. They get on with it quickly. Dennis Betts, quiet second half. A quiet test match from him.
Oh, another one. Well,
another tap.
He's obviously in charge of the English confidence building.
Betts is only inches away. All the opportunities for Great Britain were early. Now a fire. Looked to nearly lose it. He got thrown to ground by Daly. Lydon a dummy half. Schofield very wide. So is Gregory. Not a good ball. He does well to pick up. Great hands. Great hands from Platt. Quickly to his feet. They are desperate. Lydon with a smart kick. Sensational skill. Oh, yeah. With still some time, they get a look in. Just a small one. But smart thinking on the Optus replay. Not much room to move. Lydon just chipped ahead. That is excellent play.
Yes, and that kick was forced somewhat by Laurie Daly, who moved up very quickly, and it was very similar, I think, to a try Laurie Daly scored not that long ago, almost in exactly the same stage of the field. He's a terrifically talented player, as Joe Lydon, been in the English side a number of years, managed to get around Michael Hancock, and that's probably been the first time that Hancock's been beaten in defence, but certainly he couldn't be blamed for that. Not allowed to tackle the player, of course, without the ball, and terrific skills shown by Lydon to get the Great Britain team back in the match with some sort of chance. Not much, but with still 8 minutes remaining, who knows?
Lee Crooks. 1 from 1 for Crooks. They need this 2 points. Crooks from out wide, strikes it well, just goes to the side. Australia still with this big advantage though. Now Lucas is in trouble and the referee has been grabbed by the trainers. 18-6 here on the Subaru scoreboard. Crooks is not, Lucas I should say, has not moved since that hit over the top from Harrigan. We have plenty of members from the Great Britain camp hurrying out there. Now the stretcher has been called. Once again, we take a look at this hit from Harrigan.
Well, it seemed to glance in there. It certainly did look like it was the forearm of Harrigan that connected with his melon there.
There is something about the stadium, and Harrigan again involved in another incident after the State of Origin, but he did look to be falling in the tackle.
Yes, I'm sure that may be the thing that possibly could save him. Sure, we'll hear a little bit more about it. The English aren't normally ones to whinge and moan about the incidents that happened in the match, but gee, you know, it was something that didn't really seem all that bad at one stage, but obviously it's something a lot more serious than first looked.
Lucas is out of here, Sirenen's out of here, Lidner's out of here. Standing ovation for Sirenen and Lidner as we get underway again. Clark to bring it back. Stepping, he hasn't stopped trying. Still short of his own 22 though. Great Britain have missed 36 tackles. Short of the 22. Dennis Betts out wide, a little bit of space. Schofield was nearly grabbed before he had the ball. The longest winning Test series sequence is held by Great Britain. 10 continuous series against Australia between 1921 and 48. Australia have won the last 9. That all started in 73. So we're looking at the record books again tonight for a square-up. Wide they go. Clyde. He heard the call. Daly. He was boiling. Midfield for Australia. Jackson. Plenty of room out wide. Now inside. Australia looking for another try. Brad Mackay out there. Great support play from him. They're skinny out wide. They're in big trouble. Quick hands. Clyde. Clyde still. Hancock will get it. Australia are red hot tonight. The hands out wide have been brilliant. Forget about the headache. Hancock's got himself a Test try. Optus replay. Great long ball from Langer. Superb quick touch from Daly. Clyde out wide again. He's involved to lay it on for Hancock.
Here's a nice long pass from Alan Langer. It looked to be the wrong option taken by the Great Britain centre in Darryl Powell, who raced up to try and cut that try off. But the ball went out to Bradley Clyde. It looked as though he may have butchered the movement at one stage there when he decided to go back in, but in actual reality, he opened up the opportunity for Michael Hancock, who still had one player to beat, did very well to do it. One-on-one, there's not many times that Mick Hancock won't be able to beat his opponent. He's just too big, too fast, and too strong.
Clyde just put him off for a fraction. He stopped the cover defence, gave Hancock just that extra inch of room. Clark, the big swinging arm over the top, went astray. Hancock, 5 Test matches for the Brisbane Broncos winger. Andy Gregory looking down the barrel at another Test defeat. They were confident after an unbeaten run on tour, Great Britain. They had opportunities, they didn't finish in the first 40. Big celebrations here at home for Australia. Last few minutes of this Test match, where there has been some stunning attacking play. 4 minutes only. Wishart. He's got another wide one. Hits it beautifully, but just misses. Hancock would be hoping for the siren to go. 22-6. Great Britain back with the restart. They promised so much, they threatened in the first 40, Michael, but the second half they have not been able to maintain the rage nor the pace.
That's right, Graeme. I don't think too many sides in the world would be able to withstand this pressure that Australia's thrown at them in the second half. They really have been outstanding, particularly the Australian backs. All of them, they played outstandingly well.
Fittler now. Mick, I've got to say that they have shown enough in the first half that if they grab those opportunities...
Absolutely. I think, you know, 2 telling things in the game happened in the first half, and they both involved Andrew Eddinghausen. He saved 2 certain tries, which really, as far as I'm concerned, turned the match and put Australia in a match-winning situation at half-time.
Eddinghausen gets a touch now. Great saves they were too. Plenty of workers all over the paddock in green and gold though, Wally.
Yes, their defence certainly has been the point that saved the day. As Mick said, Eddinghausen's defence in the fire movement certainly was a very telling factor. But the other opportunities where the Great Britain side have tried to move the ball wide, Australia's sliding defence has managed to cut the movement off on many occasions. Another high tackle from Bradley Clyde. Gee, I think he won't be wearing a tie for quite some time. He's worn a few out there tonight, but been an outstanding player for Australia. He and Bobby Lindner really have caused havoc. And when you throw in Paul Sirenen to complement that duo, it certainly has been a nightmare for the Great Britain defensive unit in the middle of the ruck.
Harrigan now from a long, long way back. Full of running still, with a couple of minutes remaining in the test. Gillespie playing at midfield. Langer. Daly. Too many missed tackles. The frustration has showed as Great Britain have tried to square up with some individual clashes all over the paddock in this second half. Langer. Shaping out wide for Kevin Wohlers. He gets thrown to ground by Betts. Kevin Wohlers from dummy half. Mackay, I should say. Langer. They want some more. The crowd have enjoyed this great display. The ball was forward here, though. Scrum to go down with a Great Britain feed. Have they got a try left in them with only 60 seconds? Hand over it is.
Was the fifth tackle?
I think so.
Edwards to Schofield. A fire gave a couple of flashes early in that first half. Wishart has nailed him in the second 40. Great Britain have a lot of work to do. They will have to learn very simply from their defensive lapses. They have the skill to lay on a try. More penalties. Edwards wastes no time. 30 seconds only. 40 metres out. Superb second half from Australia. Gregory was the man they wanted to mark most closely. He hasn't been able to do any damage in this opening test. Schofield's tried hard. Ball gets thrown a mile back for Jackson to pick up. It is gone. They might have done it at Wembley in 1990 to upset the apple cart. Not even a hit in the second half here. A great performance. Bob Fulton will be just more than pleased. They are on their way in the defence of the Ashes. Clyde was everywhere. Smiles all round for him. Great effort by the forwards. Meninga got a double in Test 13 as captain. Great effort from him as well. King Laureate says you could just about suggest that title for all the Australians. He is a more than happy man. Disappointment for Schofield and Lydon. Michael O'Connor is now sidelined with the Australian captain.
That's right, Graeme. I've got Mal Meninga here. Mal, you must be very satisfied with that win. That was the Mal Meninga of old. 2 tries. You're now the Australia's highest ever test point scorer and scorer in general games. How do you feel, mate?
Well, I feel relieved, guys. A lot of pressure on us tonight. They were expected to give it to us, and full marks to our forwards in particular. They went forward tonight. Their defence was tremendous. I couldn't wish for better. We've still got 2 to go though, so we won't get too carried away.
Good luck with it, Mal.
Thanks, mate.
Mal Meninga, great effort from him. The disappointment, though, is all in the English camp. Their captain, Gary Schofield, is with Pat Welsh.
Gary, it was disappointing, but you had your chances early, didn't you?
That's right, man. The difference between the two sides was Australia turned the press into points. We had our chances. We didn't take them, and Australia did that.
There was that period in the second half when Australia scored those couple of tries, Sirenen's try. It just seemed to me you were going a little flat in attack.
Well, it was, but I say in test match football, you can't afford to give anybody 12-point star. They turn the points, all the pressure, they turn the points into we didn't, but we'll learn from this one. Looking forward to the second one.
That big Australian forward pack, they were vital tonight too, weren't they? yesterday.
Yeah, he was. You know, they kept going all day, and that's the way they play football nowadays. If you're going forward, and you're going to put points on the board, and that's what they did. But I say we'll learn from this and look forward to the second one.
Yeah, you guys decided to throw it early, and you played entertaining football.
Yeah, we did. Marty went down the left-hand side a couple of times, but as I say, there's not many chances in Test football, and you've got to take them.
Okay, what do you do for Melbourne? What have you got to change?
Well, we haven't got to change much. I say all we've got to do is just the pressure that we have and the chances we've got. You've got to take them because, as I said before, if you don't take your chance in Test match football, you don't deserve to win.
Gary Schofield, commiserations tonight. Best of luck in Melbourne. We're going straight over to Paul Harrigan.
Thank you.
Thanks, mate.
Yeah, I've got Paul Harrigan here in his Test debut. Had an outstanding game, probably one of Australia's better players. Paul, how does it feel, mate, to come off a winner?
Oh, it's a great feeling, but mate, that was a very hard game, and I thought we stuck to our guns well, and our backs really turned it on. But mate, it feels great, and it was a hard match.
What about that incident with Lucas in the second half when he went down? Was there anything in it? Was it just that he went down?
I think I hit him in my shoulder because my shoulder's still hurting a bit, so it was definitely a shoulder hit. But mate, I don't think there was nothing in it. I suppose I'll go have a look at the videos and see what happens. But mate, as I said, there was nothing in it, and it was just a tackle.
Chief, when did you think you had them in the second half, or was it late in the first half? What did Bobby Fulton say at half-time?
Half-time was more or less consoling what we'd done in the first half and make sure we do it again. And we pretty well thought whoever scored again in the second half first would take the match out, and that's what happened. So, you know, very pleasing, and our frame of mind throughout the match was very good.
And your big mate Ciro got under the post for one. You've got to be next, eh?
I'd be pretty happy with being next. Big Ciro had a great game, and it's a big, powerful run, and it's just a pleasure to play with him.
You had a great game too, mate. Go and enjoy the celebrations. Congratulations.
Thanks, mate.
Thanks, Graeme.
He certainly did, Michael O'Connor. Great performances all round in the green and gold tonight. And a big scoreline in their favour. 22 points to 6 to Australia over Great Britain. Not just the players, sell-out crowd here at the stadium on our Subaru scoreboard are celebrating also. Beautiful night in Sydney, especially if you follow the green and gold. We will return on 7 Sport after this break. Back to Sydney, 22 to 6. The 106th Test clash between Australia and Great Britain. It is now square at 51 apiece in all those matches together, with 4 drawn. And as we take a look at our Subaru scoreboard, Wally Lewis, I've got to ask you, is the jury still out about a Great Britain comeback for Game 2?
Well, I've got no doubt that Great Britain can come back in the match. They showed enough, especially in that first half, to have their coaching staff positive. They've had a fairly successful tour so far, and I think it was just the case that the Great Britain side just managed to, well, didn't manage to settle down enough. They just panicked at the wrong time, and through some very bad and risky passes, and in defence, they started to get a little bit frustrated at not being able to post points, and started really throwing those tackles around, trying to dust a little bit of the dirt and dandruff off the top of the Australian players' hair.
Well, they did have some opportunities in the first half, and they had a couple in the second. Only one of them got to the wire, and that was Joe Lydon.
That's right. It was certainly a very talented display from Joe Lydon in posting the try. He really did just about everything possible. Managed to beat a player, stand him up, then chip kick or grab a kick around him to put the ball down behind the try line. But there were a couple of tries, as Michael O'Connor mentioned earlier, that Australia managed to save, and they possibly were the difference between Australia winning and losing this Test match. Tremendous cover defending tackles by Andrew Ettinghausen, and really that could have been 12-0 to Great Britain at one stage.
That leads me to the next question. There are heroes all over this stadium in Sydney for Australia.
Oh, there certainly were, and Andrew Ettinghausen, he was the hero in the first half for Australia. There was no doubt about that. I'm sure that everybody that watched the match and was here at the ground would have realised just how hard it was to try and grab hold of Martin Afai, because he is easily the fastest man in rugby league, and trying to position him against the sideline to make those cover defending tackles is hard enough, trying to judge his speed, but actually getting there and then boxing him into a corner and knocking him over the sideline, that's another, and he did that splendidly on 2 occasions.
Mal really with all the headaches, but he is a tough competitor too.
Well, Malcolm, really, we all realise what a hard competitor he was as a player. He really has built this Great Britain side up from the basement. He took it over a number of years ago when Australia were thrashing Great Britain quite easily. He's come up and he's turned them into a very dour defensive unit. Unfortunately, I don't think we got to see quite their best tonight. He'll turn them around by the time the second test comes around. He's a cranky bloke at the best of times when he's a loser. As a winning coach, he certainly knows how to get his team up there on a high. Now I'm sure he's going to make sure that his players leave no stone unturned in the chance to try and grab a test series victory over their rival opponents.
Well, Australia gave plenty of headaches to Great Britain tonight, and headaches too for the Seven Sport commentary team in settling on our MMI man of the match. Here he is with Pat Welsh.
Thanks very much, Graeme. Plenty of bruises down here in the Australian dressing room, and our man of the match is one of them, but plenty of smiles as well. Bradley Clyde, congratulations from MMI Insurance's cheque for $2,000.
Thanks very much. That's a fantastic award. It was a full-team effort out there tonight. Everyone got in and done their fair share of work, and I believe, you know, we've got 2 more to go, and we'll be just as intense for the next 2, I hope.
You took the words out of my mouth. There was no real standout performance, and obviously you were the best, voted by our judges from a great team performance.
Yeah, well, I think I might throw this one on the bar because I think it was everyone went out there in a great frame of mind to play their best football tonight against Great Britain. We knew they'd be very tough, and they were. This time, when we play them down in Melbourne, we won't be taking them lightly at all. We'll be playing our natural game like we did tonight, and let's hope so it's the same result.
A few heart flutters when O'Fire made those early busts?
Yeah, it was. Martin O'Fire's tremendous speed. He ran around me one time, and I had no chance of getting him. Our flying fullback, Andrew Eddingshausen, he covered him very well, and Andrew played a very good game.
Now, you've got that knee heavily packed in ice. How is it?
Yeah, I'm on the bench for the weekend with the Canberra side, and it's just precautionary, really.
Tough time of year for the representative players, isn't it?
It is. We've got to back up a couple of days after each game, and it you know, puts a bit of pressure on the body, but I mean, we're professional athletes. We expect to do that sort of thing these days.
All right, Brad, congratulations again. A fantastic performance tonight. Australia getting home, and you're looking forward to Melbourne.
Yeah, most definitely, and thanks to MMI.
Okay, $2,000, and our man of the match is Bradley Clyde tonight, Graeme.
Yeah, MMI man of the match, $2,000, Wally Lewis. That might help him think about other things away from Canberra even.
Yes, there's some very cheap homes up on the Gold Coast at the moment, Graeme.
You'd love to have him.
Well, I'm sure any club in the Winfield Cup would love to have the talented lock-forward services. You can just see whether it's an open attacking game or a dour defensive effort. He's one of the best players on the field every single game he plays, and from playing against the bloke in State of Origin football to watching him represent his country, you can't help but admire the bloke. He's extremely talented. He's a terrific bloke off the field, and really is what rugby league is all about. He's a real role model for the game.
He was a champion for Australia tonight. Well, stay with us right here on Channel 7 as we review a marvellous performance by Australia in the second half back at the stadium after this break. Test match of the 1992 Battle for the Ashes series. Very impressive, the green and gold machine tonight, but there were some great saves out there too when, most importantly, Great Britain were threatening in the first half, and Michael O'Connor, Andrew Eddinghausen saved the day.
Yes, that's right, Graeme. I've got Andrew, the Australian Test fullback and hero, sitting right next to me now, ET. You've played a lot of Test matches, something like 16 now. Is this the biggest atmosphere you've ever played in front of in Australia in a Test match?
Yeah, not a doubt. This is the biggest crowd you know, I've been under in Australia. It was just fantastic out there. I ran out there and I didn't expect to see all the seats filled, but it was you know, it was chock-a-block and plenty of Aussies and plenty of Great Britain supporters as well. It was just a great Test atmosphere.
It was Meninga who got Australia really firing tonight with the double as we take a look at all the try scorers. They were lining up for Australia. Meninga got that double, Hancock got a try, and Sironen the easy one right under the post, although he did crash through, and they really did wear down Australia. Lydon got a late try for Great Britain, but this pack is a daunting one for the green and gold.
It certainly is, and of course Bob Fulton is a self-professed fan of very big footballers. We listened to some of the facts and details of just how heavy that the Australian pack is nowadays, averaging around about 105 kilos or something like that, a massive pack for Australia. And when you're trying to defend against that, surely after a certain amount of time you're going to have to get tired. You're going to get sick and tired of blokes smashing into you. I guess it's just like the water just wearing away at the edge of the ocean. It's eventually going to get you.
Out on this first test, nothing left but a few ghosts around this stadium now. Ghosts to haunt Great Britain as far as the second test is concerned. Wally, what happens from here?
Well, I think the Great Britain side have naturally got to sit down and try and work out exactly where they went wrong. I think they'll be very encouraged with what they saw in the first 40 minutes of play, but the coach, Malcolm, really, he'll be sitting down and saying to himself, well, what changes have I got to make? And I think one that will really stand out is that, unfortunately, as many times as he's played for Great Britain, Lee Crooks, I think, might be relegated to the reserves bench at least. One man that I think they really missed, though, Jonathan Davis.
Yeah, well, they could have used him out there. We look ahead to the second test here on 7, exclusively coming up. Australia versus Great Britain, the 26th of June, Princess Park in Melbourne, and they will have to hit back in a very, very big way. Malcolm really has a lot of work to do with his side. Their defences have to be in order. Thanks for being with us. We look forward to your company down south in Melbourne for the great occasion. On behalf of all the 7 team, good night, everybody.
This has been another 7 Sport production, the network of the 1992 Barcelona Olympics.
This court is adjourned till the second test in Melbourne, Friday, June the 26th, 1992.
Oh, fair go, Gov. Ain't we had enough?
Yes, Your Honour. I really must get home. Mumsy will have tea ready.
Tonight's first 4X Rugby League Test match has been proudly presented for your enjoyment by Subaru, MMI Insurance and Optus Communications.
The Ikalitahi 15s rugby team is boosting with confidence ahead of their opening match Nation Cup match against the Flying Fijians. With the presence of former Wallaby Israel Folau and former All Blacks Charles Pitau and Malaka